Alright guys, what's going on? BSG bringing you another Grand Cross video. So, I did the red and gray demon, now I'm doing the crimson demon, Halix, forearm demon, whatever you want to call them. This demon actually has a few more options than I think the red demon does. I feel like Halix, you could get away with using some of these units even in the no use category. I definitely feel like he is a little bit more free, if that makes sense. The gray demon is so restrictive. I hate doing the gray demon, and then the red demon is just very tanky. But I feel like the crimson demon, you just use pretty much one strong DPS, couple units that can help out, and then you're looking solid. But guys, before we get into it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. At the time I'm recording this, I am at 5.73k subscribers, so hopefully you guys can help me reach the 6k goal. I would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, so Halix, I never really had difficulty with him when he dropped, because when he released, everybody pretty much used Derriere, and that was the end of the discussion. If they didn't use Derriere, they used Demon Melee, you know, or they used Arthur, Red Escanor. So he definitely had a lot more options, I feel like, in terms of team building when he released, whereas the red and gray demon, they were pretty restrictive to what units you could use or that were good. But again, he definitely has a lot more options. So I guess we'll just go over the no use category really quick. Most of these units, like I said, you can use them in normal and hard. You can get away with using them, but once you get into the extreme / hell, I definitely think these units are not gonna do anything for you. They just don't provide much, even whether it be damage or support or whatever. They just don't do anything, right? Now, one exception to this, well, I don't know. There could be a few that are pretty decent and extreme. You could even use, I think it's Elizabeth and Hawk. They have a passive where if they don't take damage, their basic stats increase by 10% infinitely. So you can definitely get away with them on the back or something, but that strategy is way outdated and no one's gonna use it. Even beginner players won't use that because of the units that we have now. It's just not a strategy you're gonna use. So that's why I said you're not really gonna use this Elizabeth and Hawk. You're just not. That strategy is way just outdated. It just is. Sigurd is a unit where if you use like red Arthur with him, he could potentially deal some damage. I could see it. Or maybe like Bond Arthur in this Sigurd, because Bond will give you 2 buffs. He'll give you 3 at most, and then you know you'll have 5 buffs there, and then you can get away with the amplify effect of his single target. Definitely could come up with some type of strategy to use Sigurd for sure. Who else? Kyo, his passive unfortunately doesn't work in deathmatch, but his Holy Relic does. So you are getting at least 2 ignites for free. You can combine that with like Demon Melee and get a 3rd ignite going on, maybe even potentially 2 more. So you get 4 ignites altogether. You could use Kyo's ult, which gives ignites an extra 2. So you know at most you get 6. Mon Speed is somewhere on here. Mon Speed, it potentially has a strategy, I guess, where you could even use him like, I don't know, say you can use his ult with Kyo, and then you could use like Demon Melee. There's a couple of units here that I guess you could mix and mash and they could be alright, but for the most part these units just aren't that good or useful. Pretty much, I hate to say Kyo's not useful because he definitely is, but since his passive is restricted from deathmatch, it just hurts him a lot. Same thing goes for Sigurd here. I don't think his passive works either in deathmatch. Same thing with Scotty, her passive doesn't work, so even if you debuff her, nothing's happening there, unfortunately. It's just some of these units just don't do much. But yeah, this is the no use category, and it, you know, like I said, you can get away with using some in normal and hard. Also, I want to get this out of the way before we keep going. In my gray demon ranking list, I had Gil Thunder in no use, green Gil Thunder in no use, and I want to make it very clear that I wasn't trying to bash on him. I wasn't thinking of his usage. I really wasn't, truth be told. I just forget that you can actually run him because of his buff skill. I am so used to seeing him in PvP on the back that it completely slipped my mind. It happens, so I want to apologize for that, but he definitely is useful in Gray Demon, okay? He's an okay unit for there. All right, let's just get that out of the way. All right, let's go ahead and let's move up to the sub-only units. Pretty self-explanatory. You know, the sub-units here legitimately are sub-only units that you can, I mean, nah, you really can't get away with using any of these guys up front, to be honest with you. They're just pretty much only ever going to be used in the back. Elaine is probably the best. I think Elaine might be the best. Jericho might be the second best because of the attack related stats buff. It's either Jericho or Bond. It might be Bond. Bond might be the second best, and then Jericho might be third, because Bond is reducing the crit resistance and crit defense of the red demon, and he's also increasing your attack related stats by 10%, so he is doing more than Jericho. Yeah, Bond is definitely second then. This Elaine is just so good for buffing units. If you're not running a team that's primarily, you know, with buffs, you don't need Elaine because she's not doing much other than helping, you know, the increase for buffs. She's really not. So you could get away with, I don't know, let's say using a team of, I don't know, Sariel. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a team. You could potentially even use like Bond's team, right? You could literally use Bond's regular team, and I think you could actually do some work with that, because his team is definitely going to be a solid team. Does Terry? Let me see if Terry's passive works on the back. That might bring Terry down if it doesn't. I think it does though. I think it does. Yeah, it does. No, it doesn't. His holy relic does. That's what it is. His holy relic works on the back, so it makes him very, very useful. So yeah, Terry's definitely a solid unit for sure. But you could run, you could for sure run Bond's actual team, and I think you could get a dub with this, even on like hell, for real. I think you could. I think Terry is going to pretty much carry you, but Bond is definitely going to do some work. Arthur's just here for the support, really. You could definitely get away with it for sure. No doubt about that. But yeah, if you're not running a buff heavy team, you can definitely use Bond. Jericho will work for defense. Nagato, I think that's how you pronounce it, would work. These three are just like, you could run them here and there, like the situational. But yeah, I definitely do think that you could get away with some dubs with like non-buffing teams. But yeah, I think these units are fine. Like, they're only sub-units, right? They're just sub-units. You don't got to worry too much about that. All right. Okay units. So these are the okay units. Like, they're just okay. I don't know what else to say, right? They're just okay. You could use them. You don't have to use them. You know, it is what it is. If you have them and you don't have any other choice but to use them, there you go. So okay units, there's a lot here, and the reason why this red Slater is not in the no use, because red Slater actually helps in terms of allowing your units to crit. If you guys don't know, I believe it's the higher Slater's crit resistance. Look at me, I don't even know myself. I think it is his crit resistance. The higher it is, the lower their crit defense is. Oh, okay, it's the crit chance. Okay, so the higher his crit chance is, the lower their crit resistance is. So you could build our set around this Slater, literally our gear. You could build our gear with this Slater that's all crit chance, and you could reduce his crit resistance, the demon's crit resistance, to 0, I think. And then you could just go crazy with crits. So he could actually be somewhat of a decent option, right? Definitely not a throwaway. I think that Slater actually has one of the better passives in the game, because if they give this to an actual really meta unit, I don't think people will understand how good that is. Because imagine that's on, like, I don't know, let's say they release a new base Zeldris or something, and he has it to where he decreases all enemies' crit resistance and crit defense by the value of his crit chance. That is so powerful. Like, that is so powerful. Now, obviously, on a unit like this, his crit chance was low to begin with, but if you get a unit nowadays with their crit chance is like 80 now, like, that's insane, right? So yeah, his passive is definitely very good to this day, especially for like raids or something like that. could get away with that. We have Red Tarmio. Now his passive doesn't work. I want to get that out there. It does not work, but he does have a buff skill, and he also has a single target flood card, so that could be very solid for him to deal some damage. The buff skill actually can help you out because it increases your all allies attack, and you can stack on the damage reduction that'll go on top of the demon, so you could actually use him for some type of strategy. He could definitely be okay for sure. I think if you run Tarmio, you will find some type of like usage for him. He's not a throwaway, even though his grace and his passive don't work, but his holy relic does. He locks the ultimate gauge of everybody for 2 turns, so I think that could come in clutch. I think he's just a really decent unit in the raid. You could definitely get away with it, but again, keep in mind, again, his passive and his grace doesn't work. So there that is. Matrona is just a very good support with healing. That's it. That's legitimately it. You know, obviously she has a buff skill, a taunt where she increases her defense and stuff like that, but really you're gonna just primarily use her for the heal. Really, that's it. And then, like I said, Bond and Arthur are here because if you run them on the same team with another human, it could be a really good strategy, no doubt about that. They're okay, right? They're okay for sure. You could potentially, if you don't use these two on a human team, you could move them down or whatever you want, but I feel like they're okay. I feel like they are okay. Surprisingly, this red Bond is okay. The red nunchuck Bond has weak point, and that is very big because the demon takes more damage from weak point skills. So that red nunchuck Bond actually isn't that bad when you think about it. You get him with a unit that's gonna help you, or you know, that's gonna debuff, so it's gonna help your damage. He could just deal some pretty good damage. That's it, right? Weak point, the demon takes more damage from weak point. That's pretty much it, really. Bond doesn't do anything else but that. The weak point really does help him out because it's going to be a very strong single target. I think that's where, you know, he is actually going to provide some DPS there. But as far as it goes, you could use Snatch because he does have a Snatch on his ultimate, and I believe that, I don't know, actually that might not work on the demon because he is immune to stat, like he's immune to stat debuffs, right? He is immune, so I don't know if that'll work, but it's, you know, he still has a weak point, so it could help out. And then we get to these 4. I put Shin here because as long as the demon is debuffed, he's going to crit regardless. So actually, Shin could be I was debating on putting him up here, but I don't know. I feel like with his holy relic, he is definitely up there because his holy relic, he deals more damage to the enemy when they're debuffed. So I feel like you could use him actually and get away with using him even in hell, right? So yeah, his damage dealt increases by 50% when they're debuffed. So that's major. Like that's actually really, really big, and he's always going to crit. As long as you have that demon debuffed, he is going to crit. So you run him, you can even run him with this demon melee to give him the ignite. You could even run him with Kyo with holy relic, give him the ignite, and Shin will literally crit no matter what. I think that is probably the strongest thing that Shin has, right? No doubt about that. Yeah, like I was saying, I think that's the strongest thing that Shin has, is that debuff, you know, that crit where they're debuffed and he always will crit. That is very, very strong. So I'm gonna keep him in solid. I think I'll keep him in the solid, right? He's not the best, but whew, he's better than the rest of the options, that's for damn sure. So yeah, I like Shin where he's at. Rem, I used her, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know, I wasn't really that impressed with Rem. I feel like she could be solid, but I also feel like she's just okay. I don't know, like you could put her in solid. Rem is one of those units where I just feel like I mean, okay, here's the thing, right? If you're using her with a buff team, she's solid. She is. You use her with Red Arthur, you know, she's getting those 3 buffs. She does buff herself whenever she moves or merges a card, and I think uses a skill. So as long as she's consistently getting those buffs off, her amplify skill is going to hit pretty damn hard. She is, I would say Derriere is better for sure. because Derriere is just giving herself just more attack upon attack upon attack. She has a skill where she buffs her stats and stuff like that. I feel like Derriere is just better for this raid for sure. But Rem is definitely still an okay unit. You just really depend on her buffs, and without her critting, I don't think that she's that crazy, truth be told. But I mean, at the end of the day, she's still, you know, she's still an okay unit, right? She's still an okay unit. And then all of these units at the solid unit, they're just solid. Okay, like I was saying, Jesus Christ, my dog is not letting me record, man. He's not letting me do anything. Anyway, like I was saying, all of these units on the solid tier are just really solid units. They all can just be very good in their own way. Deanne is just going to provide you a lot of utility or support with her stance. She has a single target skill that gives more damage the more ultimate move gauge she has. Like, she's just going to be very good. Well, these Meliodas is just by default have more damage because he's weak to melee, I guess. Like, melee's just gonna deal more damage regardless, but they're still very strong. Even again, the coin shot red demon melee, this is the event was literally made for him. He has ignites, infect is big too, by the way. I didn't really talk about that. Infect is big because the demon does lifesteal, so you want to restrict his healing, and really Meliodas is the only one that does that has infect, to my knowledge, that's good. Yeah, I don't think any of these other units on here does Mike have infect? Hold on, I actually don't remember Mike's I don't even remember the last time I used Mike. Does Mike have infects? He does. Okay, yeah, he does have a single target infect. But Mike is just so garbage, though. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. I mean, he does have infect. Yeah, okay, well, Mike is still not that good, so wow, okay, there's not a lot of units that have infect, unfortunately. So yeah, Meliodas, again, this event was pretty much just made for him. And then Terry's a god. I don't know what else to say about that. Terry's just an absolute menace. He's Jesus Christ incarnate. Like, yeah, like when it comes to his stance and everything, he's just too good. Trader Melee is very solid. I'm not a huge fan of using Trader Melee, but I know a lot of people are, so I'm not gonna knock it. And then here are the best units. Like, these three have not really been replaced at all. They are still probably the best units to run for this raid. Sario's I feel like Sario's fallen off, but he's not falling off at the same time. I think it is about time we get a brand new red DPS for this. Derriere probably will just end up being the best unit for this for a very long time. Just no one really, like, just her attack is just really strong. If melee was kind of more like Derriere, I feel like he definitely would replace her, but she has the no, I lied. She increases her attack power every skill she uses. So even melee increases all his stats, but he has a limit. Derriere's limit, I believe, is 10. Right? He has a limit of 5. She has a limit of 10, and she just keeps stacking upon stacking. So Derriere is just too good. She also has evasion on her second skill when she gets a rank 2. Gother, I don't really gotta go for Gother, but these are the best units. They just, I mean, I guess you could put Terry up here, maybe if you wank him off, but these three, man, they are the kings of Crimson Demon, right? They are the kings and queen of Crimson Demon. They just are never probably going to be replaced, or at least not for a while. Saria, if we get a really good, strong DPS red unit, I feel like Saria will be replaced pretty quickly. Could you replace Saria with Shin? No, you can't, because none of these units use debuffs. No, you can't, man. But Shin does but you have to hit a rank 2 with Shin. Yeah, Shin does have a debuff skill himself, It's a blockade. Does that even work on? I don't even know if that works on Halix. I don't think it does. Damn. If oh man, if Shin just man, that sucks. If Shin had what Levi had though, because Levi will crit. I think Levi just crits regardless. Does Levi work? And hold on, Levi. Now I'm looking at this. I'm like, because I really wish Shin wasn't as dependent on debuffs. I really, really do. But yeah, he does. He does. So he's gonna crit regardless. Man, yeah, Shin is very solid, but his fatal flaw are debuffs. Yeah, you do need someone to provide those debuffs, and the team that you're gonna run Derriere on, it's just not gonna be it. You could, I mean, I guess you could replace Gother with some, like maybe if you did this as a comp, like these three, maybe. But Gother's rank ups are so strong, man. They actually are just insanely strong. I don't know. I would have to. I might just try and run a team comp of that. We'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. What team are you running for Halix? Are you using any of the units that are in the like okay tier, the solid tier? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you all later.